I think today I'll read you some few things out of the book of art, something to think about, something that you can ponder. Here's one. If someone tells you he knows what art is, shun him, for he knows not of what he speaks. If someone tells you he knows that art is, believe him, for he has seen its shadow. One cannot know what art is, for art is beyond seeing. But by seeing its shadow, one can know and believe that it is. So if someone ever asked you what art is, you'll just have to remember that. No one knows what it is. The best you can do is see its shadow, so that you know that it is something. Here's another one. Time to an artist is a friend, not an enemy. That's important to remember. Being an artist takes time. It's your whole life. It's not little chunks of it. It's not just a little part of it. It's your whole life. And then as we talk, then it moves into the afterlife. Your artwork. So no matter how long it takes, it's your friend, because eventually your life will have meant something, if your art means something. Here's another one. When the artist and the intellectual become too much as one, it destroys both. Now, you know, people back in New York like to sit around and talk about art in the cafes. They like to make it a big intellectual discussion. I mean, a lot of artists, their whole careers are based on people who have made intellectual decisions about art, what art is and what it isn't. But it has nothing to do with intellectual discussions or the intellect. Art is a creative process. It involves the art soul. Intellectual can talk all they want, but they're just talking around it. They're trying to tell you what art is, and as I just said, you can only see the art's shadow. So there's no point in making a big intellectual fuss over it. Too many people make that mistake and think that it's the intellectuals who decide what art is and what art isn't. Intellectuals don't know anything more than their intellect, and they just sit around and talk in circles. They don't produce anything but a lot of words that fill the air. And the minute they're dead, their words are gone. Who cares? There's nothing wrong with intellectuals. I'm not saying there's something wrong with them, but to tie them into the arts, to make them part of the arts, that art can't function without the intellectuals, that's silliness. The arts can do fine without the intellectuals. An artist makes artwork. Artwork does not make an artist. Now that's an important one. I'll tell you why. I've seen over the course of my career as an artist, painters who will paint a picture, paint a canvas, excuse me, and they quick run out and show it to someone, either a gallery or a friend or whatever, and it's like they hide behind it and they say, am I an artist? Am I okay? Am I doing good? Look at my work. Look at my work. Am I doing all right? expecting that someone else is going to confirm whether they're an artist or not. Remember I said that an artist is independent. He doesn't need that. An artist decides himself. If he's going to dedicate his life to art, and then he decides what it needs to be doing and how he should be doing it. He doesn't need someone else telling him. And you certainly don't need to push your artwork out there and say, look at that and tell me if I'm any good. But too many artists do that. They're worried about themselves. They're insecure. They have doubts. So they push their work out in front of people and hoping that somebody will affirm them and say, oh yeah, you're an artist, you're good. I can see by looking at your paintings. They need to look at the person to see if he's a good artist, or he or she. You see the difference? We've talked about that. You fail on foot. You succeed in a tour bus. That's for sure. Because when you fail all alone. But when you succeed, you've got all kinds of people around you, tourists. Art doesn't bring out the best in people. The best in people bring out art. Now that's important to remember. The best in people bring out art. When someone is constantly on the move, always doing this or that, chances are they are not in harmony. Notice that nature is always peaceful, unless churned up by a storm. That too should be the way of a true artist. Nature gives one time to rest and a time of activity. Follow nature's example. Rest when the creative winds are still, be active when they are blowing. Again, that's all about, you don't need someone else to tell you that. You know inside. Okay, that's a few things for you to think about. So think about them this week, and I'll see you next week. Go to my website, send me an email. See you next week.